Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box.
This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. We're back again at the Seattle Drum School. This is the final episode of the Seattle tour. I can't believe we're finally here. It has been an adventure and a half. I'm not even going to bother with this bit right now. I want to get right into this. And here is today's guest.
Hi, I'm KZ from KZ Music Media and also of Seattle Drum School of Music.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. And I just want to get it out there early. Thank you so much for allowing us to be here, occupying your space. You've been so accommodating. I've learned so much from you just during setting it up. And it's just, I'm so thankful that we finally get to sit here and do this.
It's just what we do.
Yeah. Now let's go ahead and get into it. I have some fun facts about the place I'm going to share. Let's see if the internet is as correct as it should be. I believe the school was originally established in 1986.
Correct.
Yep. Started by Steve Smith and is currently family owned and operated by him and his wife, co-instructor Christy Smith. And there are 2 schools employing over 40 teachers, and they've had over a whopping 16,000 students in your history. That's
a pretty good estimate.
That's awesome. It's amazing how much music has come from this place. That's such a powerful thing.
That's right.
And now the name might be a little bit misleading because they don't just do drums. There's so many things that there's, what my list here? Guitar, bass, piano, woodwind, brass, vocals, production, audio engineering, everything. Yeah, there's everything that has to do with music. It's so cool. There will, if there isn't already, there's going to be an entire generation of music.
There is already.
That is being created for the forefront of what happens next. Coming from the school. That's incredible. I know I have to be asking questions, but I'm just so wowed.
No, that was beautiful. Because it does kind of encapsulate the legacy of this place.
Yes. And lastly, that was the thing I was going to say to close it out. I got so wrapped up in it. Do y'all ever think about offering photography or promotion classes in the future?
There's always ideas.
Okay. Well, that's my potential gift idea to you. I think that's, I was thinking about what's is there anything they don't do? And those are the only 2 things I could think of at the moment where you would that would be it. You could open a whole new venue that was just the students from the school after that if they wanted. But that's really cool. I think this is great. But let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you got into it, and just any other fun facts you think we should know.
Okay. Well, generally, because I can always be found around live music, I get asked, what do you play? And my pat answer is, I don't perform, I promote.
I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. Now, what got you started doing this? Was it just you were in it all the time, or was there an outside source? How did you begin?
Yes and yes. So I can't remember a time in my life when I have not been around live music. I was definitely out in the clubs at times that I should not have been. Growing up in Minneapolis, the land of Prince. So that has, including his short-lived club, Glam Slam. So I would say that was a major influence in my personal music tastes for the rest of my life. So I definitely live in the land of funk and where it intersects with all of the other genres.
Yes.
So, where funk meets rock, meets jazz, meets pop, meets hip-hop, where it blends together. And I've continued that pursuit of being in that realm in Seattle since the 90s. And I always said, someday I will work in the music industry. And the short story is that someday came. My profession had me very much as a networker and outreach person, and all of my musical friends kept asking, when are you going to do what you do, but do it for me?
Yeah.
It all converged at one point, and I've been full-time working within the music and entertainment industry for 10 years.
Wow. Now, tell us about the first time you stepped foot in the Seattle Drum School.
Actually, the first time that I came, it was during the pandemic, and there is an old school band, funk, called Fat City Smokehouse.
Oh, good name.
And that's Fat City Smokehouse. And I was invited to come participate in their live stream, basically as a media person and friend of everybody who's in the band. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just get invited to things. When nobody else was getting to enjoy live music, I got to be in the middle of a really hot show. You can find it on YouTube.
Wow.
I believe that one went through, let me not misspeak, but you can find it on YouTube.
Gotcha. All right. Now, how long have you been with the school?
Coming up on 2 years.
Nice.
I was basically invited to come help with the relaunch post-pandemic lockdown. Mm-hmm. And what got me, so I was invited to stand in as school manager. Mm-hmm. But what really got me was come activate the space.
Ooh,
and
powerful.
I took you on a tour.
Yes.
Of the building. It's a huge 100-plus-year-old building with 3 floors.
Yeah. Y'all, it's incredible. She kept being like, hey, now check out this space. Now check out this space. It's like the TARDIS. It just kept going from outside. I'm like, oh, this looks like a pretty decent sized space. And then there's so many things in here.
Yes. And we are sitting in a legitimate performance venue.
Yes.
Retitled The Lab at 1010. And the reason that it's called The Lab is because in the history of Seattle Drum School of Music, they had a warehouse that they operated out of for 20 plus years in North Seattle. And they had a performance and recording space there called the Little Auditorium in the back, The Lab.
Oh.
And the address here is 1010 South Bailey Street. So it's The Lab at 1010 because it is kind of also a little auditorium in the back. It's attached to the school. 75-person capacity. The room sounds great because Steve Smith, Mr. Seattle Drum School, needs a place where he can play jazz with his friends and sound great.
That's awesome.
Since then, we have hosted hundreds of events of all different kinds here.
Yes. I mean, and the space is really cool. Actually, I have to shout out Lord Lawrence because he recommended reaching out to you initially.
Yeah.
And he was just like, this spot's really cool. She's amazing. You're definitely going to want to interact with them.
Right on, Lord Lawrence.
Yeah, nailed it for sure. Now, we're going to jump on to a little bit. We're going to focus on some music stuff in just a moment, but I have one more question to kind of set up the foundation.
Okay.
Tell us about the first show that you put on, all on your own.
Ooh. Okay, so in 2016, I put on a showcase at Tractor Tavern in Seattle, one of the major mid-sized venues. Mm-hmm. And it was the Northwest Groovement Showcase because along my journeys and getting into promoting and trying to showcase this realm of music that I live in, I realized you have jazz promoters, you have rock promoters, you have hip hop promoters, but what about all the stuff in the middle where my friends are?
Yeah.
And it became known as #NW Groovement. And so I showcased down north, Whitney Monjay, Breaks and Swells, and Purgato at Tractor Tavern.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty major.
That's really cool. Now, your focus on music, I really like it. It feels similar to mine, where it's just the attention to what's happening is so interesting. Now, as this is a music focused show, there are a couple core questions that we ask in the beginning, and I am very excited for these answers. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Okay, I have to laugh, but I'll tell you the truth. As a kid, I remember going to a flea market and spent my allowance on a collection of albums, literally records. And I got Cyndi Lauper, She's So Unusual. I got Thriller. And I got the single of Oh Mickey.
Okay. Hey, that's a solid first purchase.
Yeah.
That definitely got some strong ones there.
Yeah.
And then what was the first show you ever attended with your by choice?
I'm trying to remember. I've had so many musical experiences. They all kind of blend together. I recall going to a major arena concert for Bon Jovi.
All right. That's a great one to get in early.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's go ahead and let's talk about the present. The Seattle Drum School hosts so many shows. You all are doing stuff all the time. We're about halfway through the year. How many shows do you think you've put on?
Over 100. Well, 100 events. So events aren't necessarily
Fair.
public.
Fair.
You know, we just hosted a 75th birthday party where it did have a performance, but it wasn't something that could be publicly advertised. We host film shoots, video shoots, interviews like this, private karaoke parties, and then certainly EP releases and public shows as well, all different genres.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite show that you've put on, or if there are just too many good ones, or I guess event, I'll stick with that keyword. Is there like a favorite one that you've put on, or if there are too many, tell us about one that just went completely off the rails.
No, I'm not going to tell you about the off the rails ones, but what I can say that I'm most proud of has been our series Second Sundays at 6, which is continuing the legacy of the Seattle Drum School, providing a performance space for youth musicians who don't have many other opportunities to get their feet wet with performing live. I meet musicians out in the wild all the time who say that North End space, the lab, was the first place that they ever performed.
Wow.
And so I'm really excited and proud to be able to try to continue that tradition with the Youth Music Showcase, Second Sundays at 6. So every one of those is my favorite one until the next one.
That might be the coolest answer I've ever gotten. I love that.
Yay.
I love that so much. Now, putting on events constantly while running the school, it's a tall order. What do you do to keep like a strong work-life balance? Like you said, you go to a lot of shows and things. Like, do you exist in that realm outside, or do you like to go hiking, or what do you do to kind of separate yourself from your work?
I have been accused of being really lopsided.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, there's not much that I do that is not somehow work-related or providing support to my friends who are doing things that are also music-related.
Gotcha. So it's really you just kind of live it as a lifestyle.
Yes.
Okay. Well, again, I get it. I think I have no qualms with that. I think if it's something that you love doing, you never work a day in your life, right?
That is definitely my philosophy.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Now, these next questions are more for other bookers and promoters and people who coordinate things, who listen to the show, just give them a little more insight. Getting all the pieces in place can be tough. Is there any tools or platforms that you utilize to keep everything organized?
I'm sure that there are some great tools and platforms out there. I come from an administrative background, and so I just use the old school standard tools. I live by a spreadsheet.
Yep. Good old Excel.
Google Drive, calendar, all of the things that talk to each other. I did upgrade to Apple products so that I could share content more easily with other people. But I have not invested in any of the, fancy scheduling or other types of software that is out there.
Gotcha. That's okay. This whole show runs off of Google Calendar, so I
All
get
right.
it.
Yeah.
What are some of your top priorities when you're putting together an event in the beginning?
I'm not sure that I understand that question.
So is there like information that you try to grab ahead of time? Is there like a list of things that you let people know in the very beginning? What do you do at like the early stages when you're setting up for the event?
Well, before we book any event, I do try to provide some culture background. Like, we're not just a room, that you can rent to do your event. It's a community. It's a school. It's a legacy. The reputation is important. What the school neighbors feel about the event is important. So I provide that kind of information so that they understand that what they do here impacts everything, and that we're establishing a relationship. And beyond that, it's just being, very attentive to what it is that they want to accomplish and offering any advice or assistance or referrals that I possibly can to make it a successful event for them.
Gotcha. Well, you succeeded here for sure.
All right.
For sure. You also handle the social media side of things. How is that? Because like I was saying off mic, I didn't do Instagram for like 2 years. I jumped on a couple months ago, and now it's just like so many things all the time. What do you do to stay on top of that?
Well, it's another one of those things that sometimes when you're a person that has so many balls in the air, it's chasing the road as you're building it. And I'm sure that everything that I'm doing could be done bigger, better, and more organized, but it's just me doing what I do. I have been called Holler Girl because that's what I do, is I holler, and for a variety of entities along the way, I've done that. So I've just centralized a lot of that effort here under the umbrella of Seattle Drum School, because there's a lot to holler about here.
Yes. And then what would you say is your way of measuring the success of an event?
The first thing is you ask the organizer, how do you feel? You can certainly tell by the attitude of the guests when they're leaving, but absolutely having a debrief with the person who brought the event here, and of course touching base with my technical team, who are boots on the ground here, making sure that the vision gets facilitated. And then, at the end of the day, being able to look at the ever-growing list of events that we've hosted and the ever-extending wall of fame of flyers that we've been accumulating on our wall, on the other side of the wall here, in the school side of the building.
Awesome. Yeah, that's actually kind of the recurring answers that's based off of like how it was experienced by everybody else. And I think that's really cool, just because, it's like there's so many ways that you can measure those kinds of things, but that seems like the most important one is the way it's put on and received in the end. Now we're going to move on to some hypothetical questions.
Oh boy.
Yeah. If money and communication were no issue, who would you have come teach at the school?
Oh, wow. I mean, you got a local cat who's not so local anymore, who has spent a lot of time here, Aaron Jones, because his bandmate, Bob Lovelace, teaches here and has for 13 years. So it's been kind of their home base for rehearsals. Hope I'm not giving away star secrets right now, since, since then in the last year, they've gone on to open for the Rolling Stones 2 times. And they are heading off to France to do a bunch of major rock festivals out there. But yeah, that'd be cool if Aaron came and taught some guitaring and some songwriting here.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Now, subsequently, who are some local acts that you're aware of that maybe you would want to get into the lab that you just haven't had a chance to connect with? Or do you just wait for everybody to reach out to you at this point?
At this point, it's letting people connect with us because they want to do things here. But another way that we've activated the space is by some of our larger lesson rooms that are fully loaded with a plug and play PA situation and, double drums and piano and everything. We've been opening that up for rehearsals, but we're not really advertising that because it's more about pulling from the community. So I've gotten, a nice little network of friends coming through here, bringing their music to me, which is great because if I'm here and not able to make it out to their shows, I mean, if I've got music happening in 3 rooms at the same time, I guess I'm, getting my fix.
True. And I totally understand not being able to go to things because you're too busy interacting with the things that eventually become the go-to things.
Yeah.
Now, we're all students of our crafts. We're all learning new things. We're all doing stuff. What is something that you're learning about now? Is something that you're trying to like grab onto or get better at to like do what you do better?
Premiere Pro.
Ooh.
It and I do not have a good relationship, and I have such grand visions of the videos that I would like to produce of the content that I collect. If I looked at my phone right now, I have literally over 18,000 videos and like 3 times as many photos. If I'm looking for something for last week, I have to scroll 5 times.
Yep.
So I do some things with that content, but I would like to do more, better. I think presentation is becoming more important than just the raw, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's just been a hurdle that I have yet to be able to get over.
I feel that one very much. We just jumped into the video platform not too long ago. Well, it'll be a little longer by this comes out, but present day, it's not been too long. So I get that one for sure. But it's definitely good once you have it. And that's definitely useful just kind of in general. I think that leaves a lot of room for other options open in the future. So I think that's cool. And thank you for sharing that. Some people have been a little iffy about like the things that they think they're learning or not learning. So it's fun to hear that even somebody, so powerful in their role is just like, no, I want to learn this next thing. I want to grow. I want to do more.
Yes. And of course, I'd like to know more about the content that I do produce and put out, how to reach more audiences than what I'm currently reaching. But really, that is a have to dedicate your whole mind to it situation to keep up on it. So if anybody's got any tips or tricks, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Put them in the comments. There we go. All right. We've reached the end. Yeah, I know. What's coming up next? This comes out at the last week of June. What's July looking like?
I can't even tell you. We've got 50 things between then and or now and then. So I couldn't possibly tell you, but I can tell you that you can follow Seattle Drum School on all of the things, and we keep it really active with the variety of things that we're involved in. I know the school will be bringing some kids and students to perform at festivals regionally here in Seattle, and we'll definitely keep hosting all kinds of events here at the space. And then on the KZ Music Media side, when I get a breather from continuing to activate here at the drum school and I'm able to get back to hollering about some of my friends and the amazing things that they're doing, then that would be another place to catch up.
That'd be awesome. And actually, just for this next one, I know you just kind of said all of them, but go ahead at the camera, give us all the ads, give us all the plugs. I'm going to put it kind of in that space next to you while you're talking so that everybody can see it.
All right. This is KZ, and you can follow me at KZ Music Media. And you also want to stay in touch following at Seattle Drum School on all the things, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. So maybe that's not all the things, but it's a lot of the things.
That is definitely quite a few. Okay, and then any other like shout outs, plugs, anybody you want to put on while you're on the show?
Unless you want a whole nother show, I probably shouldn't even crack open that can of worms.
Perfect.
But thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I'm going to take one last moment here before the last question and just, again, say thank you one more time. This has been such an incredible experience. This is the end of the tour. After this, we get to back up and drive back down south. And I don't think it would have been the same without your presence during this entire experience, both in the very beginning and all the way up to now. So thank you so much.
Man, absolutely my pleasure. And that's pretty much what I do is I'm a connector. So I take pride in knowing that all of my effort and energy has become part of the fabric of the local music scene. And I'm really glad to have been able to bring this opportunity to some of the folks here. I did actually think of something that I probably should shout out. A major part of my heart goes to Mojam Mondays, Mojam Presents, which is actually led by an instructor of the school. And I was the promoter of this community music hub for 7 of its 9 going on 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you're here on a Monday, you want to head over to Nectar Lounge and join the community, where every song is a band of strangers put on stage and they make it up. So there's no calling songs.
Oh, that's really cool.
There are live painters. There are makers who come and vend their things there in the patio. And I actually hosted 55 episodes of a live radio show from Mojam Mondays. And they are in the process of creating a Mojam Mondays documentary. So I feel like, you know, my child has, my grandchild has grown up a little bit. So yeah, shout out to Mojam Mondays. You can follow them at Mojam Presents.
Awesome. All right. We've got one last question.
Okay.
And this is the crowd favorite. This is how we end every episode. What is your guilty pleasure song?
You know, I have never, ever been able to participate in any of those surveys where they're like, what's your top 10 albums and what's your top 10 songs? Because it absolutely varies depending on mood and circumstance. But pretty much 9 out of 10 times it's going to be Prince.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's great music. So I fully understand that. Anybody who doesn't want to listen to Prince, that's their loss.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and officially wrap things up. This is the end of the Seattle tour. This is the end of all of it, but there's still more things coming. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow at Jimmy's Jambox on a million different platforms now that we're streaming to other things. We're on YouTube here. We're finally heading out of Seattle, but the Seattle Drum School, Jules May's Saloon, all the places that have been super helpful, and everybody that's been on the show, we really want to say thank you. But we're going to go ahead and get up on out of here. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
And this is KZ of KZ Music Media and Seattle Drum School.
All right, we're signing off, y'all. Have a good night. That's a wrap.
This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Let's just slow down. All of the things around me are saying this isn't gonna be great, but that's fine for you and me, cause you know it just can't be that it never even should have came to be. So let's carry on, and we might be strong to get through to what is on the other side. But if not, what would that be like? I'm scared to disappoint. Thinking of the times we spent has become a staple for my night routines and my mid-class daydreams. I wish we could go back to how everything used to be. Yet at the same time, I'm glad that you shut me out of your life. Let's just slow down. All of the things around me are saying this isn't gonna be great, but that's fine for you and me, cause you know it just can't be that it never even should have came to be. So let's carry on, and we might be strong to get through to what is on the other side. But if not, what would that be like? I'm scared to disappoint.